talk about Star Fox. Star Fox is a series, it's a Nintendo exclusive series, which has basically, it started off with a bang. It was fantastic. Starwing on the Super Nintendo, released in 1993 by Argonaut Games, was such a fantastic game on both, gameplay-wise and a technical standpoint. It was the first game to use the Super FX chip and displayed gorgeous 3D graphics on the Super Nintendo. It was astounding, and to this day, it still looks fantastic, in my eyes anyway, and the game is still one of the finest games I've ever played. And the game, it set the story and the world and the characters of the Star Fox universe, of the Lylat system. You start the game in Corneria, and basically fly through space through various places like Meteor, and you take on the Andros Space Armada, and finally you have your showdown in Venom against Andros in his huge face, and he uses his telekinetic powers to spit panels at you, and you dodge and you avoid getting sucked up by him, and you blast him, and it was a thrill, it was fantastic just playing through these levels, and then you can go back and try and beat your high score or try and beat the game on a higher difficulty level. Anyway, so the series started off with a bang when they sort of announced Star Fox 64, or Lylatwars as it was called in Europe. I was generally really excited because I loved the first game. And when Lylatwars arrived, it came with big ass box with its Rumble Pack, which was another first for the Star Fox was sort of like experimenting with new things. And the Rumble Pack, and it sort of added an extra level of it just made you feel like you were more a part of the world, like you were actually controlling the R-Wing, and you could feel it, if little jolt and rumble as you got shot or barrel rolled, and all that kind of thing. And it was fantastic. Lylatwars was, again, it's sort of more of a retelling of Starwing, but or Star Fox, whatever you want to call it, of the original. But took the difficulty level in a different route, and you were rewarded with more challenging levels depending on how you did in the previous. So, if you save Falco in Corneria, you will go to the hard route, but if you don't, you will continue along the easy route. And there were so many different paths that you can take, and it was really like every time you played it, you could take different paths and do different levels and just have a lot of fun with it. And there were some varied stages, and there was the introduction of the Landmaster as well. And the Star Wars team, more characters, was the first one to feature full voice work, which was also something that was very rare to see in a Nintendo 64 game. Oh, it's fantastic. Lylatwars remains one of my favourite games to this day. And has recently been released on the Wii's Virtual Console, so if you've never played it before and you have a Wii, download it. Seriously, fantastic game. Then Star Fox took, in my opinion, a turn for the worst. In 2003, Rare released Star Fox Adventures, which took the series in a more Zelda-esque adventure route, but sort of stripped it of everything that makes Zelda unique and fun, and gave you lots of mindless item collecting, which was present in practically every Rare game that you could imagine. Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie, even Jet Force Gemini, and lots of collecting and very repetitive gameplay, which was alright for 3D platformers, but for something like this, it just didn't work. And the combat was basically you could mash the A button and you would make it through the game. And they offered a few R-Wing levels to get you from A to B, but they were just stripped of everything that made the R-Wing in Lylatwars and Starwing just so fantastic, and it was just a real disappointment. I mean, on a visual standpoint, the game was gorgeous. I mean, Rare really outdid themselves with the graphics in that game, and the voice acting was fairly decent, but the game, Jesus, it was a disappointment in my eyes. I was really looking forward to Star Fox Adventures, and it was very disappointing. And I keep trying to get further into the game, and I try to enjoy it, but it grates on me so much, and I just I can't enjoy it. And then afterwards, Nintendo gave the Star Fox torch to Namco. Namco, and they released in 2005, I think it was. They released Star Fox Assault, which was met with a kind of mixed look, if you will. Because basically, Namco perfected the R-Wing. The R-Wing stages in that game are absolutely fantastic. They are action-packed, and you dip and dive, and the levels rotate around, and you know, there's stuff flying at you, and you're blasting everything away. It was amazing. They really perfected it. It was fantastic. You know, the opening level is amazing, and I can replay the R-Wing stages in this game so much. They just tried to do something different, which I kind of respect in a way, with the on-foot missions, where you run around with just Fox doing solo missions, blasting stuff with his gun, and occasionally hopping into a Landmaster and blasting things even more. And the levels aren't bad. They're entertaining enough, very repetitive, usually fairly difficult to navigate around, a bit confusing, but controls are a little bit awkward, but you can kind of live with it. But when you compare them to the army missions, it's dull, it's boring, you just want to hop back in that army and fly around again. I mean, there's even a stage where you're in a space station with Wolf O'Donnell's ragtag group of misfits or whatever, and you know, you run around the base a bit, and then you get to hop in an R-Wing, and the R-Wing's fantastic, and you're flying around blasting shit out of the sky, and it's amazing, and I love it. But the on-foot mission is a little bit dull, but the game overall was alright. It was certainly no Starwing, certainly no Lylatwars, but damn sight better than Adventures. The final point in the Star Fox series is Command on the Nintendo DS. Star Fox Command. Again, taking the Star Fox series in a different route, where it's basically more of a strategy type game where you plot your route and intercept enemies and blast them out of the sky in dogfights. That's all it is. All range mode dogfights. Okay, they're entertaining, but the control scheme, I'm all up for using the touchscreen to do stuff, but it's uncomfortable, especially when you've got a big brick DS like I have. You know, you can't really sit comfortably and play the game. So it's infuriating when, you know, you mess up on a mission and you have to replay it, but your hand is aching so much because it's just so awkward to play. And it's nothing much like Adventures that I am trying desperately to love, but I'm failing miserably doing it. Still, the game is decent enough. I mean, I love the direction they've taken the story, you know, and the characters. I love the characters of Star Fox so much, but it's just the way they handled it. It seems that Nintendo aren't taking Star Fox seriously anymore. It's just, you know, it's like they reached a pinnacle or something, and you know, they kicked so much ass with Lylatwars that they probably feel like they can't surpass it, but they can, because Assault, in my opinion, is, you can tell that there is a step further that they can go, and that they tried to take it there, but just dumbed the whole game down with its stupid on-foot missions. But anyway, yeah, that's my little rant about Star Fox. I want to do some little video reviews of each of the Star Fox games. I'm desperately going to try and just rip into Adventures and actually finish the game, and at least beat Command, because I want to love those games so much. I really do. But it's really difficult because they're not very good.
Do a barrel roll!